What's up, everyone? Special shout out to It's Complicated channel. This is female privileges and victimhood. This should be really interesting. I'm really interested to hear what all of these women and men say in the 21st century.
What do you think about female privilege? Is there such a thing?
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
There is.
And what does it entail? Female privilege, what does it entail? What are the benefits for you as a beautiful woman like you are?
Manipulation.
Manipulation. Thank you. We got it.
Okay, thank you.
That's exactly what we needed.
It's always
Why are men
It's
taught how to
always-
treat women, but women aren't taught how to treat men?
This guy looks like what's that guy's name? Tom Green from Freddy Got Fingered.
Wow. Female privilege. They don't have to do anything, really. They can do what they want.
How should women treat men?
Well, with respect and love, mainly respect, and then love.
But we're not seeing that in this day and age. It's the I want, me, I. I feel like, all day.
Kindness and relax a little. American women seem to be very uptight, very demanding, always.
And this is a big problem with Western women. America, the UK, Canada, you see it all over. It's insane. And specifically here in the US, I said this in my last video. Women outnumber men by millions in this country. Millions. But they act like that they have a infinite amount of men when they don't realize that their pool of men is actually very, very small. They have a very low pool of men to pick from, and they're forgetting that they're competing with other women around these men. So you would have a woman that's thinking that she's hot shit, and she sees a guy, he could be anything and everything she could ever want and ask for, but she's forgetting that, oh shit, I have to compete with all of these other women around this guy because they're trying to get that guy because he's 0.1% of the men in the US in terms of what he has, his stats, all of that, 6 foot or taller, 6 figures or more, all of these key things that women polled said was very important to them. So let's continue.
Wanting stuff but never wanting to give. The men have to give 100%. Happy wife, happy life is the slogan. It's not happy husband, happy life, which is bullshit.
Would you consider chivalry to be a female privilege?
No, because if chivalry is considered holding open a door or being courteous, I think that's a human thing. I would be.
Let me stop right here. Some women would even go as far as to judging a man for not walking on the left side of her walking down the street. So opening the doors, that's pretty standard. But some women take it to the next level. It's like, oh, you don't want to walk to the left of me when we're walking on the street? Oh, you're not a gentleman. It's like they have a very long bulleted list of expectations. But again, it's the men that are finite, not the women. Again, women outnumber men in the US by millions. Hell, in some areas, the woman to man ratio is like 17-1, like Atlanta. Oh my gosh, but let's continue.
Courteous to a man or a woman in their respect, so I don't think chivalry is necessarily gender biased.
Well, once again, when it comes to that, though, isn't chivalry part of men being expected to pay on a first date? Men are typically expected to approach women and ask them out and pay for the date. I mean, that's part of chivalry, right? Women don't typically do that. Men are expected to do that. So isn't that something that's exclusively favoring women?
Yes. It's okay to say.
Not in 2021, no, because I know some bold women who are taking men out.
Because I know some bold women. They always know someone. Because once they know someone and they tell you that they know someone that's like that, then I guess that defeats the argument because the person they know eclipses the greater mass of men and women and what we have to deal with. So their friends are more important than the mass and what we have to deal with. So, okay.
Out on first date.
Well, right, but do you think that's the majority? I mean,
No,
does the
'cause
exception
I'm not.
disprove the rule?
Because I'm not doing it.
Can you name some controversial women's issues?
Equal pay, abortion.
And that's what it's mainly about, equal pay. You know? And I'm all for it.
Yeah, abortion for sure. Equal pay.
Abortion would be a controversial women's issue. Sexual freedom. Sexual immorality almost. Women can have the freedom to do what they want. Men have to be on a leash or under control, or we're basically we're subservient to women in the last 50 to 60 years.
Major
Our
point.
culture has gone that direction.
You have balls, right? That's where the sperm comes from. That's
Damn, she's fine.
needed to put in the egg. That's your reproduction system. What the fuck?
But if it, hold on.
You don't
See, now, women like this, I mean, she is smoking, right? Women like this can go through the world, specifically in Western countries, US, UK, Canada, and they operate on pretty girl privilege. They could get away with a lot of stuff the average woman can't get away with. Women like her, they can really manipulate men.
want a kid, then wear a condom. You don't want a kid, then it's so easy to put that little clip in your balls that
And she knows she can.
you can take off at any time when you want to have children. Why is it that a woman can only have one kid per 9 months and it's regulated her, but a man can have he can impregnate 12 women a day if he wanted? Why are we regulated but men not?
God damn, 12 women a day. That's some new record, but okay.
That makes sense because it's the patriarchy
I get her point in a sense, I guess.
that's put in play.
Let me ask you this: is a man solely responsible for getting a woman pregnant, or does it take
No.
two people? It takes two people. So why is the man solely held accountable and not the woman for also inviting the man to have sex? Because women
So
choose.
the man is held
women
accountable
choose,
because he has
women
to
choose
pay
who they have sex
because
with.
he has to pay for producing a life, but the woman who spends her entire life now dedicated to building the life of that kid, so he can't take some dollars out of her account, but her
That's such delusion right there. So much delusion. Holy shit, this woman is just ignorant as hell.
life changes because she has a kid. That doesn't make sense.
Can you name any men's issues?
They don't have issues.
I would say sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Domestic abuse. Domestic abuse.
It's always worst case scenario, right?
They get domestic
That's good,
abuse.
yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah.
A husband who gets divorced from his wife, it seems like men don't have any rights. They have no rights when it comes to children. And keeping the children, the women get the benefit of the doubt, which is
Almost always. Almost always. Hell, lead attorney had a segment on this too. I believe it was in somewhere in Georgia or something along those lines, where he was discussing men that don't get any reason in court. It's almost always leaning the benefit of the mom or the custodial parent as opposed to the non-custodial. So fathers are always referred to as non-custodial parents. It's bullshit. Even the father can sign the goddamn birth certificate. But let's continue.
is wrong. Equal justice. Justice needs to be blind, but I think in the courts and in every aspect of
Well, the courts are sentimental for tears and emotions and feelings over the facts and over the logic behind what's going on. You could have a perfectly capable father that's ready and willing and able to take on that long-term role, but the mom could come in filled with feelings and emotions, can persuade the judge to give her the child and have the father pay child support, and if they were married at some point, alimony. And in some instances, if he provided a certain life for her, she could eat, and they weren't married. In some states, they even allow people to file for palimony. It's insane, but we'll continue.
life, women get the benefit of the doubt, the blessings, they get the open doors. Men have to fight through the fire just to even get their kids.
The WNBA, the pay, WNBA pay. As
You know, the funny thing is when he mentioned the WNBA, it reminds me of the movie Joanna Man. he was just coming in and just dominating the courts, scoring like 800 points per game.
Compared to like men's basketball.
You're talking about like the gender pay gap, right?
Yep.
Okay. Can you name any men's issues?
I would say like men's issues.
I'm gonna pause it right here. Hey folks, be sure to like and subscribe this video. Be sure to leave your comments below. I would love to hear from you all. I would love to hear what you think about this, because this victimhood shit has gone crazy, and we're to the point where we're losing our culture. We're bleeding into some other weird nonsense, and we have to really talk about it and get to the bottom of it.
Toxicity, I don't know. Like, I have no clue.
Okay. Why do you think so many more people know about women's issues more than they know about men's issues?
Good point. Men often don't complain. We just do it.
Cause I don't know. I feel like there's more females in the world than there are men. They're more talked about, more thought about.
Let me just leave you with this, okay? Here are just some of the men's issues that I'll list off, okay?
All right.
Men happen to be the majority of suicide, the majority of homeless, the majority of workplace deaths. The family court system is biased against men. False paternity, false accusations, prison sentencing disparity,
Yes.
failure in education, health issues, and male abuse.
Yes.
Why do you
Yes.
think that so many people aren't aware of men's issues?
And that's a major point. Another YouTuber, I'm blanking on the name, but they did a test on the street where they had two scenarios where once a man is abusing a woman, and then the other scenario was when a woman was abusing a man. When a man was abusing the woman, almost instantly people rushed to her aid. It was no one wasted time. People of various sizes, ages, heights, they instantly were, hey, what you doing? But then when they switched the scenario where they showed a woman abusing a man, people walked past laughing, recording it, not coming in and helping the guy. So that just goes to show you how screwed up the world is right now, specifically here in the U.S.
I think men don't stand up for themselves. If a man is a victim of domestic violence or domestic abuse, he's not going to report it to the police. And if you call the police, they'll arrest you more than likely than the woman. So men don't speak up. Men.
All she has to do is just say you hit her first. Men is always guilty until proven otherwise.
Are taught to hide their emotions and suppress their emotions, and it's dangerous for men. It's dangerous for everybody, but
Some men have insecurities.
Egos.
Their egos, their pride.
I would say mental health as well. Like men are definitely less likely to admit or get help for mental issues, which is really sad.
Mental issues, which is really sad. So you see what she did there? That was really slick of her. She tried to make play that men have a lot of issues, but they don't get help for it. I see what she did there. Slick, but I caught it.
It's often said life isn't fair. Who is more likely to be expected to accept injustice, men or women?
Women.
If it's not men,
I feel like it's men.
If it's not men, why do we have the expression
Yeah, the bulldog said she feel like it's men.
take it like a man?
We have the expression take it like a man because men face way more discrimination and injustice on an everyday basis than women do. Suck it up, women. But my God to honest opinion is that men go through a lot more. They're not accepted in so many areas that women are. Just like
Major point.
we're married, by the way, and gay women are twice as much accepted as gay men are. They're shunned.
Could it ever be
That's a major point. I do notice that as well. Major point.
possible for women to hold too much power in society?
No.
Okay, so why is it possible for men to hold too much power in society?
Because I feel like everything is like shaped for them.
I honestly don't think men thought this all the way through when they came up with this whole patriarchal society, because
we thought everything else through. Everything from that beautifully paved thing you're sitting on to the beautiful plants in the back to the statue piece that's behind you. Men created all of that. Men created the paved ground you're walking on. All of that beautiful, lush shit that you're seeing off of Las Vegas Boulevard, men created all of that. It weren't teams of women. Are you kidding me? Come on now.
I mean, they want to run the world, but
Not want. Men do run the world. Again, I say, men and women. In the U.S., women greatly outnumber men by millions, except men take the hard jobs. And women, generally, they go for jobs in humanities. They opt for the easier of the roles, even though they're of the most freest in the world. They always opt for the free. You don't see female bricklayers and pavers and plumbers and electricians in mass. Come on now.
but they would usually go home to women who more than likely were the backbone of everything that they were built on as a man.
Yeah, right. Because the woman is having her schematics and her wireframes are telling men what they're going to do piece by piece for their next day working at the construction job site. Right, got it. Okay.
But their lack of wanting to give women that respect where we echo in hallways that we should have already
See, women like this, they have this persona that men should kiss and worship the ground that they walk on. These queen goddesses, whatever the hell, it's all bullshit. And they just have these weird feelings that they have this lifestyle that they envision where men are bending the knee to their every will and all of that. And we all know that, let's say some weird hypothetical, she encounters a man like that that's willing to conform to her and go super beta white knight mega simp. She's going to probably leave his ass anyway, because then she's going to cite that, oh, he's not strong enough, he's a bitch, he doesn't make as much as I do. So it's all bullshit, and most of the time women leave relationships. It's not men.
echoed in. They built
See that thunder, I think that was Thor warning her to shut the F up.
the society on that, not thinking that one day women will wake up and not want to play by their rules anymore. So
Not play by their rules. This woman, she's mega misandry, just all women power, and I get it. I'm all for the feminist movement, but she's taking it to the next level where she's going more towards the whole radical feminist feminazi sequence. Like, she hates men. Men are this. Men should worship her and all this other shit. She's crazy.
I mean, I feel like it's your karma, baby. Get over it. You thought it was
You
gonna.
know what? I'm gonna do a video next time where I'm gonna count the amount of times a woman say, "I feel like." I feel like every single time.
Be one way is if women were always going to be this quiet little kept society, and we're frankly the shit, and y'all just don't want to give us our dues.
Your dues for what exactly? And this goes back to what I said before. This magical manifestation or manifestation madness. They think that they could just sit around with their arms, folded, and things are just supposed to happen. It doesn't work like that.
Is it possible to be pro-men without being anti-woman?
Exactly, that's possible. Just like I'm pro-black without being anti-white.
I'm white and I'm pro-black.
Are male feminists selling out their own gender?
Fuck no. Same thing. Like, can we be like female maleists?
Well, can you do that without being, selling out your gender?
Hell yeah. I can embrace my womanhood and still protect you.
We should embrace our masculine.
I'll kick a girl's ass to try to touch you, man. I got your back.
I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about equality, why isn't there equal representation of both men and women's issues?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
She needs a break. I think that kind of shocked her a little bit. She needs some time to think about it.
It should be brought up, but it's not.
Why don't the good, decent women of the world regularly call out and shame the trash women for how they treat men?
And they should. They most definitely should.
But do they?
No, absolutely not. And
Why
that's
not?
the problem. Because
I think a big part of it is
Well, the sisterhood is real. The sisterhood is alive and well. And if a woman starts to, hold other women accountable, then she's no longer part of their little clique. Major shouts out to Chantel Simone. She does great work. You guys go follow her.
Victim accountability. Like, a lot of men don't speak up for themselves, so women feel like, well, we shouldn't speak up for them, and that's kind of wrong. Like, that's all the way wrong. Just because they don't speak up for themselves doesn't mean we shouldn't speak up for them.
But don't women want men to speak up on behalf of women?
Absolutely. We do.
So why shouldn't it go both ways?
We are. We're speaking up for you guys. We're not going to let this happen. Or if you guys are being touched inappropriately, you tell someone, we'll stick up for you.
I don't know, it depends. But, in a situation like that, in this, I think that there needs to be more attention brought to this because, like I said before, we're bleeding into some other weird shit, and we're going to end up like some of these other countries where, the marriage rates have plummeted. They've already plummeted here in America, and we're just going to be a weird society with a weird culture and lifestyle.
Is it possible for women to be strong and independent but also victims?
Sure, all the time. That seems to be the default mode, is that women are always victims, but yet they're strong and confident. They're queens. They're in charge.
Oh,
they have all the rights and all the privilege. It's female privilege. It has nothing
I'm a queen and I need a king for my queendom, but I'm going to be the queen.
to do with white male privilege or any of that. It's female privilege that rules the world. Men don't rule the world. This isn't a patriarchal society or world. Women are in control, period.
Why can't men ever be seen as victims of women?
Men are taught to be strong. Women are taught to be sensitive and vulnerable. And that's necessary, of course, when you're raising children, etc. And for relationships. Women need a strong man in their life, and men need a sensitive, intelligent woman who's not subservient, but we're equal in different ways.
What are your thoughts on the following statement? That a man's weakness is the facade of his strength, while a woman's strength is the facade of her weakness.
That's a genius, mind-blowing question. I don't even want to comment on that. That stands alone. That's fantastic.
Can you explain what that means?
Read it to me one more time, please.
Okay. A man's weakness is the facade of his strength, while a woman's strength is the facade of her weakness.
Yes. I think men have to pretend, whether they're humble or not, you better humble yourself. In most every situation, discussions, arguments, decisions that have to be made, the men generally have to acquiesce and be weak, yes dear, all that stuff. Inside we want to be strong, but society, from movies to music to everything, has emasculated men for the last 50 years.
And that's a major point, and we see it. But there's a lot of people that make money from it. So, for example, you have Beyonce, all the single ladies, all this, and all of this other shit. Single ladies, all this stuff. They receive praise, right? It blows my mind. I don't understand.
Husbands are disparaged. Fathers are disparaged. It's just the way it is. It's unfortunate.
Why can't men ever be seen as victims of women?
I do see men as victims of
I do see men as victims of women.
women.
Yes, in
Like,
some cases, yes, but not
For
all
sure.
the cases.
Not all, but I.
Not all, not 100%. No, not all. Yeah, we know not all, but he's not talking about all. It doesn't have to be absolute value or none. It doesn't have to be 100% or none. Okay. Jeez. But you notice when women are losing arguments and all of that, they revert to that. Well, not all. Well, yeah, no shit, not all. But the vast majority, sure.
I can definitely see how it goes both ways.
Well, right, but also, can we admit that not all women are victims of men?
Most definitely, yes.
Why do so many people today claim victimhood?
And that's a major point that he did because, a woman, she could just claim a man is abusive without having any proof or nothing. And just by default, people are supposed to just take her word for it. There are countless instances where women claim abuse, but then you realize that she wasn't abused. She just fished for a reason to end the relationship or whatever the situation was. But like I said, a woman, she could claim abuse over anything. Oh, he was emotionally abusive. Well, what does that mean? Because he didn't agree with you? You know, so you see this all the time. It's crazy.
Victimhood. I think people just want to belong. That there's so much options and there's so much media and there's so much content and
There's not a lot of options. Not as much as you think.
option like the choice paralysis, right? Like who am I? Where do I belong? And that's something that really matters to your like whole being, I guess.
Is it cool to be a victim?
Nobody wants to be a victim, but
Oh no. Women, they love being a victim because when they're victims, they get the attention that they crave. I think there's a term for it. Some women are, of course, more than others, but then some women, they break through that barrier and then they go into the realm of the whole histrionics personality disorder. It's insane.
people do get hurt.
And then they run into this issue where they're being weird bunny boilers, where they're being super vindictive. You know, it's crazy. You know, a lot of women these days, they're bunny boiling crazy. 100%. They're out of their mind.
And I don't know what the definition in the textbook of a victim is, but when you're hurt really badly or you're at a disadvantage, there are victims in the world, but it's like a moment. Like, do you choose to stay there, or do you find a way to overcome that?
Is it reasonable to expect people to recognize their privileges and not abuse them?
I think it's important to know what you have. Like, that goes to the
What the hell is this, like women with Spider-Man powers? Come on now.
gratitude. When you really know all that you've been given since you were born, all those around you that support you, it makes you be like you're able to give more. So it's important to know that, but not.
What the hell is she talking about? She's
I guess, like think you're above others because of it, or try and exploit others because of it, or take advantage of others because you know you have.
She does not want to be there and hear that guy. She wants to go out on that boulevard and party. She has no clue really what he's talking about, probably.
The upper hand, and people do that because for some people it's like everything's a big competition.
If you have a society that rewards victimhood, then more people will try to prove how much of a victim they are.
More people will try to manipulate it. More people would want to be the victim.
It's a story as old as time. You have to be self-sufficient, you have to be responsible, you have to be strong, you have to be confident. But if you have these characteristics as a man, more than likely you're going to be called patriarchal or offensive or, I don't know.
Women oppression is in their minds. Like, bro, we're superheroes. So what if we can't get jobs that are the same as men? Oppression is all in the mind as far as women versus men go. But I do feel like the women run the world thing is the truth. We do run the world, but not without men.
Well, she's partially right. Men run the world. We know that. But I don't know if I can quite agree with her saying that women run the world. I don't really see how that's possible. In an emotional sense, sure, why not? But, you know, I guess you could believe anything, but beyond that.
Like, we saw a video not too long ago that compared women to the house and men to the key. You can't have a house without a key, so.
When does blaming society end and personal responsibility begin?
Ooh.
When society learns how to take responsibility for their own things.
Yes.
No, not society. You women.
Society learn because once society learns how to take responsibility, then everybody else will.
I have
because
no problem
it takes exactly
taking personal responsibility.
but not everybody can
Oh, she seems like she has a lot of personal problems taking responsibility.
take personal responsibility. But once you take
Yeah.
it as a person or
Yeah.
as a group,
Or as
and
a
then
society.
you take exactly, and you take that first step into moving, then you did it.
Then yeah,
Okay.
that's where change happens.
That's where it comes from.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. That was really interesting. But he does make a lot of really good points. And I do think that we live in a day and age where a lot of women, they get the benefit of the doubt. We see that all the time. And if you're a man, don't you dare question them. Don't you dare question them. Otherwise, you're a misandrist or you're misogynistic, you know? And we're dealing with all of these women who, you know, if you don't abide by their program, oh, they'll call you everything in a book. you're this, you're that, you're misogynistic, you're a woman hater, yada yada yada. You hate women. I mean, you see this all the time. And I don't know what's going to happen with the American culture, but hopefully we could get a grip on this by identifying it and fixing this issue. And that is why I'm so for people bringing more awareness to this. There needs to be more awareness. If there's not a lot of awareness, it's just going to flutter and disappear. So major shouts out to all of the YouTubers that are bringing major awareness to it. For you loyal white knight beta simp men, good luck to you, I guess. But at the end of all of the madness, these women that you cherish and praise and worship and bend the knee to, they're going to walk all over you. They're not going to respect you. I mean, you're doing them a solid for the time being, but you're not helping them. But until the next time, be sure to like, subscribe. You already know what I'm going to say. Peace.